The alien market smelled like oil, rust, and fear. Bright lights hung from metal cables, buzzing softly over rows of cages. Creatures from every known system walked between the stalls, dressed in robes, armor, or chains. Some laughed, some bartered, some stared coldly. And there, standing tall in the back, was a human dot. Captain Doran kept his hood low. His face was calm, but his fists were clenched inside his coat. His eyes followed the movement on the stage, sharp and silent. His coat still carried the colors of Earth's old fleet, though worn and faded. A whistle blew. The crowd turned toward the platform. Another human was being dragged into view. She was young, maybe 20. Her dark hair was tangled, her clothes ripped, her wrists bound in glowing cuffs. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She fought. One of the guards shoved her forward. She stumbled, hit the floor, and spat at their feet. The auctioneer, a tall creature with silver skin and no mouth, raised his glowing staff. Next offering. A robotic voice boomed from his translator. Unbroken female, earth breed, wild, and undomesticated. Will require training. The girl raised her head. Her voice cut through the market like a blade. I'm not your pet, she hissed. The crowd laughed. Some aliens whispered. Others placed early bids through blinking devices. Captain Doran didn't move. He watched her. Her eyes were full of fire, not fear. Opening price, 400 credits. The voice echoed. Hands went up. Lights blinked. Prices rose. The girl glared at each bidder, as if she could burn holes through their skulls. Then Doran's hand lifted. He didn't mean to raise it. His body moved on its own. The auctioneer paused. The light above Doran turned green. Sold. To the human. A wave of silence passed through the crowd. A human had just bought another human. Even the guards looked confused. Doran stepped forward, handed over his ID chip, and waited. The girl looked at him like he'd betrayed her. When the guards unchained her and shoved her into his care, she tried to run. Doran caught her, gently but firmly. She punched him in the chest, kicked his leg, and screamed curses. He didn't hit her back. He didn't shout. He just said, "Come with me. I'm not going to hurt you." She didn't believe him. Back at the ship, she sat in a corner with her knees pulled to her chest. Her eyes never left him. She didn't trust the food he placed in front of her. She didn't touch the fresh clothes. She didn't speak. Doran worked on the navigation systems, silent. He let her have space. An hour passed. She stood, walked to the sink, took a sip of water. He didn't stop her. Later she tried to open the hatch and escape. It was locked. She pounded the walls in frustration. He watched from the hallway, but said nothing. That night, she crept into the main room. He was still awake, staring at the stars through the window. She looked tired, broken, but still proud. "Why? Did you buy me?" she asked, voice raw. He didn't look at her, so no one else could. She didn't believe him. "Not yet. You're just another owner," she muttered. "I'm not your owner," he said. "You're free to go when we reach neutral space." She narrowed her eyes. "You expect me to believe that?" "No," he replied. "I don't." The silence between them stretched. She turned away, but didn't go back to her corner. Instead, she sat on the floor near him, close, but not too close. The ship drifted through deep space. Time passed. Stars blinked outside like tiny eyes. She leaned her head back. Her body trembled slightly. She was exhausted, hungry, but too proud to say it. Doran stood, walked to the storage unit, and returned with a blanket. He offered it to her without a word. She took it, didn't thank him, just wrapped it around herself. Her voice was quiet now. "I thought I'd die in that place." He didn't respond. "I'd rather have died than been owned." "You're not owned," he said softly. She looked at him, and for the first time, her eyes weren't filled with fire. They were wet, shining. "I don't even know your name, Doran." She nodded slowly. Mind's layer. A long pause. Then, without speaking, she pulled herself up. Her legs wobbled. She walked to where he sat, hesitated, then lowered herself into his lap. She didn't look at him. She just rested her head on his chest. Doran froze. He didn't move. "I'm not your pet," she whispered again. He nodded once. "I know." But she didn't get up. She didn't walk away. Her voice broke as she spoke the next words. "Don't leave me alone." Doran looked down at her. "I wasn't planning to." Leia woke up to the quiet hum of the ship. She blinked against the soft light filtering through the ceiling panels. Her body ached, but not from pain, just from exhaustion. Warmth surrounded her, a blanket, and something else. Arms. Strong, careful. Doran had fallen asleep in the chair, head tilted back, one hand still resting near her side. She stared at him, unsure if she should move, unsure if it was safe to trust even for 1 second. He didn't look like the others. He didn't smell like control or cruelty. He smelled like metal, leather, and something faintly familiar. Earth. Carefully, she slipped from his lap and stood. Her legs were steadier now. She walked barefoot across the cool floor, past blinking lights and softly humming panels. His ship was clean, minimal, a military model, maybe 15 years old, scarred on the outside, but kept running with precision. She opened a cabinet and found neatly folded towels and medical supplies. Another drawer held preserved food packets. Everything had its place. She didn't belong in places like this, but she wanted to. Behind her, Doran stirred. His voice was rough with sleep. "You're up." She turned, ready to run if needed. He didn't move toward her, just rubbed the back of his neck and looked at her through tired eyes. "You slept for 12 hours, he said. "Your body needed it." She stayed quiet. He motioned toward the galley. "There's hot water, real food, not the market slop." Still, she didn't move. He sighed softly and stood, slow and careful, like she was a wild animal, ready to bolt. Maybe she was. "I'm heading to the cockpit. There's a safe zone not far. You're free to use anything in the meantime." She watched him leave. No chains, no collars, no threats. She expected him to pretend, to smile and lie, but he didn't. He just gave her space. She finally walked into the washroom. The mirror showed her a stranger. Dirt, bruises, tangled hair. But under that, she saw something else. A survivor. She cleaned up. Not because he told her to, but because it felt like taking back a piece of herself. Later, she found him sitting at the control panel, watching the stars. A steaming cup sat beside him. "Made 2, he said, without looking. "Didn't know if you'd want one." She took the other cup, without a word. It was hot, bitter, and exactly what she needed. Silence stretched between them again, but it wasn't uncomfortable this time. She broke it first. "What are you?" His brow lifted. "Human." "No," she said quietly. "I mean, why are you out here? You're not like them." Doran's jaw tightened. He leaned back, eyes distant. "I was in the war, fought for Earth before it fell. When we lost, they offered us choices. Serve the new order, or disappear. You disappeared," she said. He nodded. "I couldn't follow their rules. Couldn't pretend what they did was right." She studied his face. His scars weren't just on the outside. "You saved others. A few. Not enough. And me." He looked at her now. Steady. Clear. "You were screaming. Fighting. They were going to break you. I couldn't watch that happen." Her throat tightened. "No one's ever bought me to save me before," she said. "I didn't buy you. I stopped them from having you." That mattered. It mattered more than she could say. The ship beeped softly. "Ship approaching," the AI announced. "Scanning, ... authority vessel. 5 minutes out." Doran stood immediately, calm but alert. He scanned the readout. "Damn, it's a patrol. If they scan her, They'll flag the sail as illegal. She's marked as cargo, not crew. Leia backed up. They'll take me back. He didn't answer right away. Just started typing fast into the system. I can rewire the transponder. Make it look like you were rescued. Say you're injured, recovering. Will that work? He hesitated. No idea. She looked at him, her heart pounding. Then what? He stopped typing, met her gaze. Then, I fight. You'd fight. Them? For me? I don't leave people behind, he said. The alert blared louder. 2 minutes. Doran turned to her, his voice steady. Go to the back room. Lay down. Don't speak. Don't move. Let me handle it. She nodded and ran. When the patrol ship connected, Doran put on a calm face and opened comms. This is Captain Doran of the Orion Ghost. What's the issue? A sharp alien voice came through. Unregistered human detected aboard. Female. Market ID. Still active. Explain. She was recovered from a slaver ship. Doran replied coolly. Injured. Dying. I have logs. Sending now. Silence. Leia, hidden in the back, held her breath. The alien voice returned. Logs accepted. Coordinates verified. Proceed to medical station for full debrief. Understood. The ship blinked out of view. Doran closed the system, leaned back, and exhaled for the first time in minutes. Leia crept out slowly. They bought it. He nodded. She looked at him, eyes wide. Why are you doing this? He stood, stepped toward her, and then stopped, giving her the choice. You don't owe me anything, he said. She walked closer. You didn't ask for my trust, or my name, or anything. You're a person, not a product. She stared at him. Then why do I feel safe with you? He didn't answer. Just looked at her like she was something he hadn't seen in a long time. Hope. That night, they sat together in silence again. But this time, she rested her head on his shoulder, without needing to ask. When she spoke, her voice was small. Where are we going? Somewhere far from all this. Will I have to run again? He shook his head. Not if I can help it. And, as the stars stretched out ahead of them, Leia closed her eyes not because she was afraid, but because, for once, she wasn't. The stars outside the ship blurred into thin streaks of light as the Orion Ghost jumped into hyperdrive. The silence inside the cockpit was tense, like the air before a storm. Doran's hands moved across the controls with precision. His jaw was set, his eyes locked on the screen in front of him. He had seen too many chases before. He knew the signs. Leia stood behind him, arms crossed, trying not to let fear show on her face. They're coming, aren't they? She asked. Doran nodded. The patrol didn't buy the story. They've marked us. Someone sold our location. Then what do? We run. Alarms lit up the panel. Doran spun the ship hard to the left, just before a shot from a plasma cannon lit up the blackness behind them. Leia gasped and grabbed the seat to stay steady. They're firing already. Empire ships don't waste time. Doran muttered. The chase had begun. 3 Empire patrol ships followed them, sleek and silver, moving fast. They were smaller, but quicker. Doran knew he couldn't outrun them forever. He needed a plan. He slammed a button on the console. Strapping in won't be optional, he said. Take co-pilot's seat. Leia slid into the chair beside him. Her hands trembled, but she forced herself to breathe. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't trained for this, but she could feel the pressure, the weight of the moment, and somehow, she didn't want to be anywhere else. The ship shook as another blast hit their shields. Warning lights flared red. Doran flipped a switch, and the ship dove down, skimming the edge of a massive asteroid field. Are you crazy? Leia shouted. Yes, he replied. Hang on. He pushed the ship into the field. Giant rocks spun in every direction. One wrong turn, and they'd be torn apart. But Doran flew like the stars were part of him. Every movement of his hand was exact. Every decision felt like instinct. Leia stared in awe, forgetting her fear for a second. "How do you do this?" she asked. He gave a small smile. "Spent 10 years dodging death. Gets easier." Behind them, one of the Empire's ships clipped an asteroid and exploded in a flash of blue fire. "That's one down," Doran muttered. Leia's eyes widened. "You're really crazy." Another shot grazed their wing. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Leia screamed, but Doran didn't flinch. "Systems holding," he said. "Barely." Then, suddenly, a larger asteroid loomed in front of them, big enough to hide a city. Doran narrowed his eyes. "I've got an idea." He turned off the thrusters. The ship drifted, silent and slow, behind the giant rock. "What are you doing?" Leia whispered, hiding. "Their scanners can't pick us up behind this mass." Outside, the enemy ships kept moving forward, unaware. In seconds, they were gone. Doran didn't move. He waited. 1 minute, 2, 3. Only then did he let out a breath. "We lost them." Leia exhaled hard. Her heart still pounded. "That was ... close." Doran leaned back, wiping sweat from his brow. "You did good," he said. She blinked. "Me? I didn't do anything. You didn't panic. You stayed with me. That counts." She looked at him, and something shifted in her chest. He wasn't just saving her. He believed in her. He saw something she didn't see in herself. "Teach me," she said suddenly. Doran raised an eyebrow. "Teach you how to fly, how to fight, how to not be helpless." He studied her face. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was determination. "All right," he said. "Lesson 1 starts now." They stayed in the asteroid field for hours. Doran guided her through the basics of piloting. He let her take the controls, slowly at first. "Gently," he said. "Think of space like water. Push too hard, and you make waves." She moved the ship carefully, turning and adjusting, her fingers gripping the controls like they were alive. He nodded. "Good. Now balance the stabilizers." She frowned. "Like this." The ship tilted slightly. "No, the other way." She fixed it, then smiled. "That's better," he said. For a moment, the cockpit felt like something new. Not a battlefield, not a cage, but a classroom, a home. Hours passed. Eventually, Leia leaned back and sighed. "I think my brain's full," Doran chuckled. A real laugh, deep and rare. "You did well." She looked at him, her voice softer now. "I haven't laughed in months. I forgot what it felt like." He didn't say anything, but the look in his eyes said enough. Later that night, they sat outside the ship, on a floating rock, using magnetic boots to stay grounded. The stars above stretched forever. No walls, no chains. Just space. Leia looked up. "I used to dream of this," she said, "being out here. Free." "You are now," he replied. "But for how long?" she whispered. He turned to her. "As long as I breathe. No one touches you again." She didn't cry. She didn't break. But she leaned against him, slowly, resting her head on his shoulder. "I don't want to lose this," she said. "You won't." And in that quiet space between stars, two souls broken by war, chased by darkness found peace, even if just for a night. But far away, in the shadows of deep space, a signal blinked. A bounty hunter's screen lit up. Target located. The sky was on fire. Flames licked across the hull of the Orion Ghost as it dropped through the atmosphere of an uncharted world. The controls shook under Doran's hands. The engines groaned. The alarms screamed. Leia was strapped into her seat, knuckles white as she held onto the harness. "What happened?" she shouted over the noise. Doran's voice stayed calm, even as the ship spiraled. "Bounty hunter." Plasma tracker clipped the engine. "We're going down. Can you land it?" He didn't answer. That wasn't a good sign. The ship broke through. Thick purple clouds. Below them, jagged cliffs and green forests raced into view. Lightning danced between distant mountains. The atmosphere was unstable, wild dot, and there was no time to search for flat ground. Doran pulled hard on the controls. Brace. The ship slammed into a clearing, metal screeching as it tore through trees and dirt. Sparks rained inside the cockpit. The world spun. Then everything stopped. Silence. Leia opened her eyes. Smoke curled from the walls. Panels blinked. Systems offline. Her head throbbed, but she was alive. Doran. He was slumped over the console, blood running from a cut above his eyebrow. She unbuckled fast and rushed to him. Doran, can you hear me? He groaned softly. Still here. Relief hit her like a wave. You're bleeding. I've had worse, he muttered. You're lying. He smiled through the pain. Maybe. Together, they pulled free of the wreckage. Outside, the air was thick and humid. Strange trees rose like towers, with leaves the size of sails. In the distance, animal calls echoed. The planet was alive, very alive. What is this place? Leia whispered. Doran leaned on her shoulder as they walked away from the smoking ship. Not on any star maps, he said. A dead zone, forbidden, for a reason. Great, she muttered. We crash-landed in a place nobody wants to be. Could be worse. How? We could be dead. She gave him a look, but helped him sit near a smooth rock. His breathing was slow. He was in more pain than he admitted. I need to clean that cut, she said. There's a medkit in the ship is smoking. You're not going back. And he didn't argue. She tore part of her shirt, soaked it in nearby water, and gently cleaned the blood from his face. He winced, but said nothing. You're stubborn, she said. Takes one to know one. Her hand paused for a second. She was close enough to feel his breath. I thought I was alone in the world, she whispered. Before I met you. You're not, he replied. Not anymore. They sat like that for a long while, just listening to the sounds of this strange, wild place. Later, when the sun dipped low, they built a small fire using parts of a broken wing and dry branches. Doran rested against a tree, wrapped in a makeshift blanket. Leia sat beside him, holding a cracked mug of warm water. You ever think about what you'd be doing if Earth hadn't fallen? She asked. He was quiet for a moment. I used to want to be a teacher, he said. She blinked, seriously. He nodded. History, stories of old wars, lessons learned. That's kind of sweet, she said. What about you? She smiled faintly. I wanted to sing. Never had the voice, but I used to hum while working. Music made the world feel less broken. He looked at her with new softness. Hum something now. She hesitated. Then, in the quiet, under the alien sky, she did. It wasn't perfect. Her voice cracked from time and pain, but it was real and beautiful in its own way. When she finished, she looked over. Doran's eyes were closed, but he was smiling. The next morning, they tried to gather supplies from the wreck. The ship was damaged, but not beyond hope. Think you can fix it? She asked. He nodded. Given time and silence, they worked together. She handed him tools, learned how to adjust wires, and kept watch for creatures. She wasn't just a passenger anymore. She was part of the crew. That afternoon, while gathering wood, she found something strange. A carved stone, standing upright in the middle of the forest. It was tall, covered in glowing symbols. Doran, she called. He limped over and stared at it. This isn't natural. It looks ancient. He touched the stone. The symbols flashed suddenly. The trees around them shimmered, and a low hum filled the air. What did you do? She gasped. I don't know. From the trees, figures emerged, tall, silver-skinned, silent. They didn't attack. They just stared. Leia stepped back, heart racing. Doran placed a hand on her arm. Stay still. One of the beings stepped forward. It placed a glowing hand on Doran's chest, then looked at Leia. Its voice came without sound, directly into their minds. He carries the scars of war. You carry the fire of the broken. You are not enemies. Leia's mouth fell open. Doran asked, "Who are you?" "We are the Forgotten. This world is ours. You are not meant to be here." "Then why haven't you killed us?" Leia whispered. "Because your bond echoes louder than fear. You fight for each other. That makes you different." The being reached forward and touched Leia's chest. Her pain vanished. Old scars, soreness, fear, all melted away. Doran's wounds closed in seconds. Then the beings faded into mist, leaving behind only silence. Leia dropped to her knees. What just happened? Doran helped her up. "I think they gave us a second chance." That night, as the repaired ship powered up again, Leia looked at Doran. She spoke softly. "I would have died if you hadn't raised your hand in that market." He looked at her. "I would have died inside if I hadn't." They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. They just held hands as the ship rose into the sky, heading for a future unknown. But peace never lasted long. Far behind them, deep in the black, a new signal echoed. A bounty had been doubled, and a new hunter was coming. They didn't speak for a long time after leaving the forbidden world. The silence wasn't cold. It was heavy, like a shared secret, like the kind of silence that followed a storm. Leia sat near the cockpit window, watching the stars drift by. Her fingers brushed the edge of her patched jacket, now cleaned and reinforced with scraps from the crashed ship. Behind her, Doran was working on the navigation system. They'd been quiet for 2 days, flying low through dead sectors to avoid trackers. But both of them knew something was coming. It wasn't over. Leia turned and asked softly, "Where are we headed?" Doran looked up. "Old outpost. A friend of mine is hiding there. He might help us erase your record for good." Leia's eyes narrowed. "You said you already erased it." "I tried. The Empire rebuilt it." "Someone's hunting us, Leia. Put a new price on your head." Her heart sank. "How much?" He hesitated. "Triple." She stood quickly, pacing the room. "This is never going to stop, is it? They'll keep coming. They'll never let me live." Doran rose to his feet. His voice was low, but firm. "Then we fight." She turned sharply. "Fight. We're 2 people against a system built on chains." He stepped closer. "We don't have to take down the whole system, just the ones who come after us." Her voice cracked. "And what if they kill you? What happens to me then?" He stared at her, and for the first time, she saw something crack in him too. "You think I haven't asked myself that every day since I met you?" Her anger faded. Her hands trembled. "I'm scared, Doran." He nodded. "So am I." They stood, close now, closer than before, and not because they had to, because they chose to. His hand reached for hers. She didn't pull away, but the moment broke. An alarm blared. Incoming ship. 1 vessel. Interceptor class. Doran raced to the controls. "That's not patrol. That's private." "Bounty hunter?" Leia asked. He scanned the radar. "Definitely." Outside, the stars shifted. A sharp black ship glided into view. Sleek, deadly, just sharp metal and red lights. "They're hailing us," the system said. Doran hesitated, then opened the channel. A smooth, cold voice came through. "Give me the girl, Captain, and I might let you live." Leia stepped forward. "Who are you?" "I'm the last one you'll ever see, if you make me repeat myself." Doran cut the channel. "No chance," he muttered. The hunter fired the first shot. A blast shook the entire ship. Panels exploded. Sparks flew. "Shields at 40%, the AI warned. "Leia, get to the turret bay," Doran shouted. She didn't hesitate. She sprinted to the back, climbed into the gunner seat, and powered up the blasters. The hunters' ship was fast. Too fast. But Leia was ready. She took a deep breath, focused, then squeezed the trigger. Twin red beams shot through space, missing the enemy ship by inches. "Come on," she muttered. Another blast hit them. The cockpit rattled. Doran fought to keep them steady. "You're gonna have to hit him," he called over the comms. "Working on it," she yelled. She waited, watched his movement, anticipated his turn. Then she fired again. This time, her shot clipped the enemy's wing. The ship spun slightly, off balance. Doran took the chance and spun the Orion Ghost into a dive. A canyon-shaped asteroid loomed ahead. "We're going in," he said. "You're insane," she shouted back. "Better insane than dead." They dove into the asteroid canyon. Sharp turns, narrow paths. The hunter followed, lasers cutting close behind. "Keep firing." Leia gritted her teeth and fired again. Another hit. The hunter's ship returned fire. One shot slammed into their rear engine. The ship jerked hard. Leia slammed into her seat, blood on her lip. But she didn't stop. Doran pulled the ship hard upward, through a narrow tunnel in the rock. The hunter followed, but not well. The canyon narrowed. The bounty hunter's ship clipped a rock and spun out. Leia hit the trigger one last time. The blast hit the side of the ship, and the bounty hunter's vessel exploded behind them. The shockwave pushed them forward, but they were still intact. Smoke filled the back room. Systems sparked. Lights flickered, but they were alive. The ship coasted out of the asteroid belt, into quiet space. Leia crawled out of the turret bay, coughing. Her knees buckled. Doran caught her halfway. "You okay?" She nodded, barely able to breathe. "Yeah, are you?" He looked down at her. "You saved me." She looked up, chest rising and falling. "You saved me first." They stared at each other. Close. Blood, dust, pain between them. But something else too. Heartbeats. His hand brushed her cheek. Her breath caught. She leaned in, slow, and they kissed. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean. But it was real. When they pulled apart, she whispered, "I don't want to lose you." "You won't," he said. But deep inside, he wasn't sure. The bounty was rising. The danger growing. He had no idea what came next. But in that moment, with her in his arms, it didn't matter, because she wasn't just someone he saved. She was someone he'd fight for, over and over again, even if it killed him. A message blinked on the ship's console. Doran stared at it, without speaking. The sender ID was one he hadn't seen in years. It belonged to someone he once trusted. Someone who'd disappeared into the black dot. The message read, "I know how to erase her record. For good. But there's a price." Leia stood beside him, arms crossed tightly across her chest. She didn't ask what it said. She already knew. Her instincts told her this was it. The moment that could change everything or ruin them both. Doran looked over at her. "Do you want to try?" She hesitated. "Will it work?" "I don't know. But if we do nothing, they'll just keep coming." She nodded. "Then let's do it." They set course for a hidden station in the outer rim, a rogue satellite orbiting a dead planet. No government, no rules. Just shadows and secrets as they approached. The station looked like a broken cage floating in the dark. Its lights flickered. Its hull was scarred by years of battle and silence. But inside, it still breathed. Docking was smooth. Too smooth. Doran checked his sidearm, then handed one to Leia. She stared at it. "I don't know how to use this. I'll teach you." She held it awkwardly, but firm. "Just don't leave my side. Never." Inside the station, they met him. He was human, but barely. Thin wires ran along his jaw. One eye was metal. His left hand was a cybernetic mess of joints and blinking lights. "Name's Kale," he said, voice sharp as static. "You look like hell." Doran smirked. "Still prettier than you." Kale laughed. "Fair." Leia didn't smile. She stepped forward. "You said you can help." Kale nodded. "Your record's buried deep. Empire tech. Genetic lock. They marked your DNA, your blood, your entire digital trail." Can you erase it? Doran asked. Kale hesitated. Yes, but not for free. Leia's stomach turned. How much? Not credits, Kale said. Something more permanent. He looked at Doran. I need a citizenship ID to swap with hers. A clean one, from someone the Empire trusts. That way, the system overwrites her data. Doran's face darkened. You mean mine? Kale nodded. You give her your ID, the system will see her as the war hero, and you'll become nobody. Doran looked down. He didn't speak. Leia stepped between them. No, absolutely not. You want freedom, or not? Kale snapped. Not like this, she shouted. He's already done enough. Doran finally looked at her. It's the only way. You'll be free. No more running. No more hiding. They won't even know who you are. And what about you? She demanded. You'll be hunted. Stripped of rights. They'll see you as a ghost. I've been a ghost for years, he said quietly. Her hands shook. I won't let you do it. You don't get to decide that. No, but I get to fight for you, the way you fought for me. Kale stepped back, giving them space. Doran placed both hands on her shoulders. Leia, you were born into chains. You didn't choose this life, but I did. I knew what I was getting into when I bought that ticket out of the war. I don't care, she said, voice breaking. I'd rather live on the run with you than be free alone. He smiled softly. You won't be alone. You don't get to say that if you're not coming with me. He leaned forward and rested his forehead against hers. I'll always find my way back to you. The silence between them said everything. Kale cleared his throat. You want to do this or not? Doran nodded. Kale sat at the terminal. Once I press the key, there's no going back. Leia looked at Doran one last time. He smiled again. But it was sad. Kale pressed the key. The screen flashed red. Then green. Leia gasped. Something in her chest shifted. A deep, invisible weight. Gone. Like a rope around her soul had been cut. Her ID, her record, her chains, erased. Kale turned. She's clean. No bounty, no tags, no tracker. She's single quotes, ass, nobody. And that means she can finally live. Leia turned to Doran. Your ID. What happens now? Kale answered. It's deleted. Can't be recovered. Doran's a ghost. No name, no protection. The Empire sees him as rogue, fugitive. Doran stood tall. Like I said, I've been worse. They left the station quietly. Back on the ship, Leia sat across from him, eyes full of emotion. You shouldn't have done that. I did it for you. I didn't ask you to. I know. She shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. You idiot, he chuckled. Maybe. She stood, walked to him, and knelt beside his chair. I don't care about IDs. I don't care about records. I care about you. You're free now, he said. You can go anywhere. I am going somewhere, she said. Wherever you are. Doran looked at her, heart heavy, eyes soft. Even if it's dangerous. Especially if it is. Their hands met, fingers interlocked. Two fugitives. Two souls bound not by law, but by choice. Outside, the stars burned like fireflies. Inside, two heartbeats echoed louder than any name, any ID, any past. They didn't need freedom. They just needed each other. Asterisk the ship. AI flashes red. A fleet is approaching. But this time, it's not after Leia. It's after Doran. The final choice is coming, and only one of them may walk away. The stars outside were quiet, but inside the Orion Ghost, everything was burning. Red lights pulsed across the dashboard. The AI's voice repeated the warning again and again. Multiple ships inbound. 3 Empire destroyers. 2 minutes to contact. Doran stared at the radar. He didn't blink. Leia stood behind him, frozen. Are they here for me? She asked softly. Doran shook his head. No. This time, they're here for me. Leia's chest tightened. The Empire had finally caught up. Now that Doran was officially nobody, he had no legal shield, no protection. To them, he wasn't a man anymore. He was a loose end. Can we run? She asked, hopeful. Not this time. They've blocked every route. Hide. He turned and met her eyes. They know exactly where we are. She stepped closer. Then let's fight. He gave a tired smile. 3 destroyers. Leia. We can't win this one. She clenched her fists. There's always a way. The AI interrupted. Incoming communication. Message from Empire Command. Doran sighed. Put it through. A hologram lit up. A tall alien officer stood in uniform, eyes cold and sharp. Captain Doran, or what's left of him, you have committed crimes against the Order, interfered with ownership law, erased registered property, and now you live as a ghost. Doran didn't flinch. You forgot one. The alien's eyes narrowed. What? I fell in love with the woman. You called cargo. The officer paused. You may surrender, or we will fire. Doran's voice was calm. I'll come aboard. Alone. No fight. But you leave her out of this. Leia stepped forward. No, Doran held up his hand. I'm not bargaining. I'm trading. The officer smirked. We accept. The hologram vanished. Leia stared at him, shaking. You're not doing this. I have to. No, you don't. He walked toward the cargo bay, pulling out a small black case. Inside was a data core, something old, fragile, full of memories. What is that? My past. Everything I ever was. I'm giving it up. ... So, you can live. She grabbed his arm. I am living. With you. He placed the case in her hands. Not if they take me. They'll keep chasing, until we make them stop. You're just going to hand yourself over. No. I'm going to stall them long enough for you to escape. No. Her voice cracked. You can't die for me. He cupped her face. I'd rather die free than watch them cage you again. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You gave me your ID, your name, your safety. What more do I take from you? He leaned in, pressed his forehead to hers. You didn't take anything. I gave it all. Willingly. Why? His voice was soft. Because I love you. She closed her eyes. Her hands gripped his shirt like letting go would end everything. He kissed her forehead. Just once. I'm going now. She shook her head. I'm coming with you. No. Yes. If you go, I go. I'm not your pet. I'm not your mission. I'm yours. He stared at her. I made you free. You made me human again, she whispered. Don't leave me. They stood like that as the destroyers grew closer, engines rumbling in the distance. Then, ... Doran smiled. Then let's finish this together. They powered the ship up one last time. Doran plotted a course straight at the fleet. But they didn't plan to crash. They had one shot. Leia took the pilot's seat. Doran stood behind her, feeding power to the engines and loading the ship's main cannon. Ready? He asked. She nodded. Tell me when. They approached fast. The Empire didn't expect a frontal attack. The destroyers opened fire. But the Orion Ghost was already weaving through the blasts. She's holding together, Leia shouted. Doran smiled. Told you she was stubborn. He fired the cannon. A direct hit. One of the smaller frigates exploded. Alarms blared back in. Their ship shields dropped to 30%. Hull integrity falling. Almost there, Leia shouted. One last jump point remained hidden inside. A collapsing wormhole. Unstable. Unmapped. It was their only chance. Doran activated the jump. Drive. The wormhole opened. The Orion Ghost dove in. The destroyers followed, but too late. The wormhole collapsed behind them. Silence. They drifted in empty space, alive, breathing together. Leia's hands fell from the controls. She turned to him. They were both shaking, exhausted, burned, but alive. He walked toward her, slowly. She didn't wait. She ran to him, threw her arms around him, and held him like she never wanted to let go again. "You didn't leave me," she whispered. "Never." They sank to the floor together, not as fugitives, not as pilot and passenger, but as equals. He brushed hair from her face. "You're human now. Fully, truly, beautifully human." Her eyes filled with tears. "And what are you?" He kissed her gently. "Yours." Later, they landed on a quiet, moon-marked, unknown, untouched. No cities, no trackers, just air, light, and peace. Together, they built something small, a shelter, a signal jammer, a garden dot, a life. No empire, no ID numbers, just names. Leia, Doran, sometimes. When she looked up at the stars, Leia remembered the cage, the auction, the cold hands pulling her across metal floors. But then she'd feel Doran's hand in hers, and she remembered something else. Not all chains are made of steel. Some are broken by love, and some love is worth everything.